Well, good morning. It's great to see you, and welcome back to the shop, where this morning we are going to take this radiator pressure test kit, which I bought at Harbor Freight a couple of years ago on clearance, and I've never used it. And we're going to go on a little bit of a road trip this morning out to my brother's place, about 45 minutes from here. He's got a 2006 Ford Ranger with a gazillion miles on it, and he's having a coolant leak somewhere in his coolant system. We don't really know where. And I said, hey, I've got this kit here that I've never used. Why don't I come out and see if we can't figure out where it's coming from? And maybe it's an easy fix. Maybe it's something more complicated than that, but at least we can take a look at it. Again, I've never used this. We'll go through this a little bit and how to put it together when we get there. But you know, this doesn't come with really any instruction on how. I mean, there's a little bit here. There's a lot of different parts here. I guess these are different caps for different types of vehicles. There's some adapter caps that you can try to make work if the 4 or 5 that they've got here don't fit. I gotta believe with a Ford, it's probably he's probably gonna fit one of these things. But we'll take a look. We'll get out there. We'll take a look. So let's hit the road and give it a shot. Okay, well, obviously we're back in the shop, and the reason for that is the video I took when I was out at my brother's place got corrupted or something went wrong with it. At any rate, we were able to pretty easily determine where the leak was coming from. He got that fixed same day. Needed a new water pump. But I thought I would take an opportunity, since I had to pull my car in the shop anyhow to change the oil and do some other things, to show you how this works. The coolant system is a closed system. We can test the pressure and make sure the pressure is holding. And this is the kit from Harbor Freight that does that. It's pretty much a specialty tool. And, you know, frankly, unless you're, you know, fixing cars a lot or doing this type of thing a lot, I'm not so sure that it's worth the investment. These kits probably run something in the neighborhood of anywhere from the low 100s. Maybe you can get it cheaper than that. This I got on clearance. But, you know, I'm even questioning whether or not I should have spent the money on it at that time. I'll spend some time at the end of this video showing you how you can make one with a simple radiator cap, a couple of fittings, and your bicycle tire pump. But since I've got this, let me show you how this works. As I said, you're really paying for all these fittings because if you're working on a lot of cars, different cars have different openings and fittings. And this one happens to be for a Nissan Sentra. First things first is we need to take a look at the top of our radiator here. And on the cap, it says 88 kPa. And kPa is a measurement of force or pressure. There's a couple of calculators out there online where you can ask it to convert kilopascals into pounds per square inch. And so this equates to about 12.5 pounds. You don't want to put any more than 12.5 pounds of pressure in there because it may rupture the system. You may be causing more harm than good. So that's the first thing you're going to check. The second thing is you want to make sure that your car is off, that your car is cool to the touch, because you don't want to open this. It's under pressure and it's heated up. It's going to want to splash out. You've probably seen videos of that. You can really hurt yourself. This is a cold car. All I did was move it in the garage. It's cold to the touch. And so I feel confident I can open this up. Even if it's cold, you just want to do this slowly. And you open that up and you can see that is cold. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I can see some cooling fluid right inside there. So it's pretty much filled up to the top. But if it's not, you're going to want to add some fluid to this, and you're going to want to bleed the system. And the way that you bleed the system is you add fluid to it. Get yourself a funnel if you need to, or be very careful with some radiator fluid or even some water. If it's summertime, you can do that. And then you just squeeze your hose here, and that'll push the fluid up and push air out. Air moves to the top. And so you just do that and keep adding. See, there's a couple bubbles there. That's just moving some air out of the hoses. And then the water goes down a little farther. You add a little bit more fluid and you bleed it like this. You just squeeze the hose like that until it's full. And the reason you do that is because air compresses, fluid does not. We're going to put this under pressure. It just makes your pressure tester work a little bit more efficiently and effectively. Once that's done, you're ready to go. I'm going to use this. I don't need to really add any fluid to this, so I'm going to use this. So let me show you the next step. And the next step is, you know, finding the right fitting that fits on top of this. So I pull out my handy dandy owner's manual, and it has a little chart here that shows you all of these various different fittings and what they fit for. So first of all, there's pump, that's number one. You know, the blue adapter is for some Saabs and some Fords and some Daewoo's and some Audis, and so I wouldn't be interested in number one. I think number one is over here, something like that. But if I go all the way down here to number 16, adapter, Honda, Nissan, I can pull this out and I can just sort of eyeball it. And that looks like it's going to fit in there. And all I really do is just push it on, and it's got these little hooks that are going to pull into this. I push down on that spring and I turn it. And now I've got this fitting in there. So now I take my pump and I put it on here. Make sure that it's tight. And now I can just pump up my pump. Okay? See if I can see so that you can see that. So the first thing I want to make sure of is that it's not losing pressure. If you've got a big leak, it's that needle is going to want to move down. And it looks like, you know, mine is holding pressure just fine. I'm only at, what, 8 pounds now? I'm going to move it up to 10. I don't really want to get close to that 12 because I don't want to rupture the system. The system is fine. It's not leaking it at all right now. But, you know, if you ever wanted to test your system, you could use one of these as well, just to make sure that there are no leaks. And as you can see, that needle's not moving. Now, you can leave this here for several minutes if you want, if you're concerned about it. And if there was a leak, for example, if there was a leak in this hose here, this hose was cracked, that air would be pushing out that liquid, and you'd see liquid either squirting out of this or pouring out of this, probably pretty profusely with that kind of pressure behind it. Or anywhere else in the system. If you had a leak in your radiator, you would see fluid coming out on the floor or somewhere. You'd start seeing that you had a leak somewhere. But since we don't, we can take this apart. And again, it's under pressure now, so I don't want to just pop this off. And this comes with a nice little feature, a little release valve here. So I just push that release valve. You can see it goes down to 0 from there. So there's no pressure behind that anymore. I can disconnect this, pull that off, and I can put this back on all the way till it doesn't turn anymore. And there we have it. That is it, folks. That's all you really need to do to pressure test your system. So stick with me, and I'm going to show you how to make a one-off, like I said, using, you know, a cap, a bicycle tire pump, and a couple of fittings that you can get at your local, you know, hardware store for under $10, $10, $15 at the most. All right, so for the do-it-yourself pressure cap, we're going to need a radiator cap that fits your car. I just went to the auto parts store and I asked for a radiator cap for the make, model, and year of my car. They came up with this. And, you know, just kind of, again, doing the quick eye test. You know, it looks like it's about the same. We can take this one off. And we can put this one on and see if it fits. And it does. So we're going to use that. And you know, what we're going to do is take all this stuff out here. Then we've got a couple tire valves that we're going to see if we can't, you know, drill a hole to fit and pull through. So that's the goal. So let's start taking this apart, see how it goes. That's coming off now. There we go. There we go. I think what we're going to try to do is just drill that out. All right, after some successful persuading, we were able to get all of the middles of this out. And we're at a point now where we're going to try to install one of these valves. So what we're going to try to do is just push this through here and see if that'll be enough, see if it'll seal. Might have to make that hole just a little bit bigger. Okay, so after a little bit more persuading with this file, this little rat tail file here, we've widened that hole a little bit, probably too much. You know, a little bit goes a long way, and I think I should have checked a little bit more, but we'll see what happens here. We'll fit it through the right way. And you know, I definitely think it's going to fit in there. Whether or not it'll seal is a whole different question. So it fits in there pretty good now. If that hole's too big, we'll put some caulking around here and see if we can't seal that hole up. But let's put this in and give it a shot. So indeed there was a leak, and I had some quick seal caulking, so I just used that. It's kitchen and bath adhesive caulk. Nothing special about it. Just to put it in there, and hopefully that works now. So we'll give that a shot. We're going to put this on here. like this. Use this as a little bit of leverage to tighten that up. You just want to put it on just like that. And then we're going to grab a bicycle pump. Now this is an old pump, and you know, it's got a gauge on it, but I'm not going to use this gauge for a couple of reasons. Number one, these gauges are made for, you know, really, really high pressure, you know, bicycle tires. And as you recall, this cooling system is rated for 12 pounds, which is very low on the scale here. So I don't know how accurate that's going to be. This goes down to probably just about that 10 or 12 pounds. So, you know, I really don't want to rely on that. I'm going to rely on just a regular tire gauge that can go as low as 5 pounds. So that's what I'm going to use. Just going to put this on there real quick. Oh. One other thing I've got to do before I forget, and that is I need to pinch off this overflow valve so that we're not pushing air into the overflow tank and sort of defeating the purpose. We really want to isolate that from the rest of this. So we should be ready to go. We'll see if we can't pump this up now, see if it holds some pressure. And it seems to be. Looks like our needle's moving a little bit, and that's about as much as I really want to try to put into it right now. And we'll take that off. I'm going to use this real quick. So yeah, that shows that it's got about 15, 16 pounds of pressure in there, which is more than I really want. I'm going to let a little out. Try that again. And that's more like it. That's about 10 pounds of pressure, but that's a good way to pressurize your system. And again, if there is a leak in there, that air pressure is going to push the liquid in the radiator and in the system out that leak to help you identify where that leak is. And that's all there really is to it. I'm going to take this off, put everything back, and we're going to finish up with a couple other thoughts. I think this cap cost me $8, and then this tire stem, it came in a pack of 2, and I think it was $3 or $4. So, you know, with tax, we'll round it up to 15 tops. But that's a pretty good price. You know, stick it in a drawer, and don't forget that you have it. It'll come in handy someday. Probably took a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes to put this all together. And, you know, and that's the time it would probably take to go to the store and come back with a pressure test kit that you're probably only going to use once or twice in your life. So there you have it. That's it. Folks, we appreciate you sticking with us. You know, give us a thumbs up. Take a second to leave us a comment. And by all means, consider subscribing. It really would help the channel. Thanks a lot, and we will see you in the next one.